Adobe just introduced Production Premium CS5.5. We've got big updates for software, including support for the red Epic format. So right from the native format directly inside, we can work with all the color science from red Epic. So if I open up a red file, go to source settings, completely control all the source settings inside a red file, and it's completely compatible with everything from Red Cine. So we create what are known as RMD files, we trade them back and forth, and that means you can put 5K footage on the timeline and edit it natively, even on a laptop. So a few more things, syncing clips. Right now, if you're working with DSLR footage with secondary sound, you know that you have at least 2 files that you have to worry about. We can merge these together. So I can merge these clips, and I'll take this clip, and now it's one file on the timeline. And it actually makes a new file in the bin, so I don't have to worry about all those separate audio and video files and linking them together, puts them all together in one. We also want to make it easier. Let me just open up this file here. We want to make it easier for Final Cut users to move to Premiere Pro, because we're hearing that a lot of people really like the final solution of working with all of your native media, including working with native After Effects projects. So one thing that Final Cut users are used to is dragging from the left monitor to the right monitor. So when I drag over there, we get this nice little overlay display telling me if I'm going to insert or overwrite that file very easy. So all those little niceties in there. You can now drag and drop from iTunes directly into your bin. So if you've got some temp tracks you want to work with. And one of the new amazing things is working with Warp Stabilizer. So I'm just going to close this project and show you one thing here. All right. Here's our original footage. Obviously very shaky footage. We need to stabilize this. So I need to take this to After Effects. So one easy thing for me to do is the ability to replace with After Effects composition. So I can take this clip into After Effects and save this on the desktop. Drag in Warp Stabilizer. Go back to Premiere Pro, and it's actually working on that file in the background. And what the Warp Stabilizer in After Effects CS5.5 is completely different. This is not just moving the left and right side. See, now it's still analyzing it here. Yeah, it's not just analyzing the movement of that. It's doing warp stabilization. We call this subspace warp, because when a camera is moving around, if a camera doesn't move around perfectly up and down and left and right, it's actually twisting around like this, and that influences the whole background. So we're rewarping the background to fix that. So if the tree moves here, we warp the tree, and if the leg moves different, we warp that differently. More importantly, for DSLRs, we've got rolling shutter ripple removal. Yay! So DSLRs, you've got that ripple in there, going to remove it. We can also stabilize this and do something called synthesize edges. So people are familiar with when you use stabilization, if you don't scale, you get the black. This actually paints in the outside edge of that instead of cropping. Yes. So let me show you a couple examples of this that are really remarkable. So we've got him. You know, that's done. Rock solid. But I'll show you a couple more examples that I've got. So there's the original. This is stabilized. This was shot on a Red 1 that's sitting on the dog sled moving around. Another update in Premiere Pro CS5.5 is closed captioning support. So I've got a sequence here, and I have some closed captioning data that was created by CPC, and they make solutions for both Mac and Windows, CPC software. I'm going to attach a file. So this is either an MCC or an SCC file. I load that in, and I hit play, and I play it back. If you're used to closed captioning, you should notice something very unique. We're actually able to see the closed captioning playback within the program monitor. We do not have to set up a second monitor at all. Very advantageous for closed captioning. So we're not making the file or editing the file. That is CPC software that makes that closed captioning file. We drop it in and we let it go. Another big update is Adobe Media Encoder. Media Encoder is the engine for outputting files. And Media Encoder has always been 64-bit now, and it is rock solid and wicked fast. But one of my favorite features is drag and drop. Now, we've had drag and drop before. In this area, you can drag from the window. You can also load Premiere Pro comps or Premiere Pro sequences or After Effects comps. A lot of people don't know that. Alt-Tab and drag it right into here, instead of having to click through several buttons and output that and get it out. Watched folders now can have multiple output formats. So you have one folder that's set to output broadcast, web, flash, H.264. You literally drop one clip in there or one comp or sequence and output it, and there it goes. One thing that I really love about using the Media Encoder with After Effects is it does it in the background. So it renders everything in the background for you, because usually After Effects users that use the render queue have to wait. But there's one thing that's really important about that that's really an advantage. A lot of people use After Effects to create different versions of things, or they're tweaking something over and over again. So when I hit go on this, it's going to start encoding this file. And if I go back to After Effects, make a change in After Effects and hit save, all I have to do for this is just right-click and check duplicate, and now I've got a new version coming up. When that one's finished, the next version comes. I go back to After Effects, work a little more, hit save, duplicate. Back, work, save, duplicate. And I do this when RAM preview is too expensive in After Effects. I was doing a really big animation of a waving flag, and it took so much computing power on my MacBook Pro, to try to do a render preview, it would take too long. So I just kept sending them off to Media Encoder in the background to go to work in the foreground and let this work in the background. So those are some of the updates in CS5.5. Good stuff? It's usually about 30 days after we announce. And we've also announced, which is interesting, we've never done this before, we've now said that we are going to have milestone releases, major versions like 6, 7, and 8 every 2 years. So last year we introduced CS5, so we're 1 year here. Now next year we'll be releasing CS6, so you can now know when we're going to release. But 2 years is too long to go out without an update for some people. For instance, we just added Red Epic support. So we're always going to have a 5.5 release in the middle of that, so in that year. So if you don't need those features, don't upgrade. That's what we're saying. We don't expect everyone to upgrade to every version. Only if you need those dot release features do you need to upgrade. Otherwise, wait for the big release. Want to make it easier for you. And Adobe puts the B back in NAB because this is all about professional environment. This is about broadcasting. All right?
Great. Awesome.
Thank you.